Okay, wonderful. All right, everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining us today for another Gimmal education session. My name is Marcia Shields, and I'm from our customer success team. Our goal for these sessions, if you have never attended, is basically to enhance your experience with your Gimmal software. We are recording this session, as you just heard, and it will be shared after the event. Today, I'm with Tim Butler, who many of you should know. Tim's going to be your subject matter expert today, and he's going to be demonstrating our Gimmal Physical product. Tim's going to be showcasing how you can associate your electronic records to your physical records metadata. Format will be the same as the other sessions. We're going to do about 15 to 20 minutes for a product demonstration, and then allow 10 minutes after for your questions. We do encourage your questions, and feel free to post them in the Q&A section of your Zoom bar. Excuse me. And we'll address those after the demonstration. Tim, that's all I have. So let's get to the good stuff. I'm going to pass it over to you now.
All right. Thanks, Marcia. Appreciate it. And yeah, guys, thanks for joining us today. We always appreciate your spending a little bit of your time with us. As Marcia said, we are going to focus on a particular feature here today, the ability to associate or include electronic documents or eDocs, or as I've called it in my demo here today, digital content. It goes by various names, how that all works with Gimmal Physical. The name of the product, right, is Gimmal Physical. So our wheelhouse has always been, actually now for 37 years, the management of physical records. But we do have some capability with the electronic content, and we'll highlight that for you here today. Now, guys, a couple of disclaimers right up front I want to get out of the way. I want to kind of actually say what our eDoc or digital content capability is not. So if you're looking for a solution that provides collaboration or versioning or advanced workflow or OCR capability or redaction, any of those other kind of back office, either content management or document management functionality, that is not really what we are offering. Guys, we do have actually nice integrations, one with Laserfish, so we point you in that direction if you're looking for those kind of features. Or we've actually got, to whet your appetite a little bit, a really nice integration coming up with Microsoft and Purview in particular. Rather, what we are providing to you guys is really sort of a convenience feature, if you will, in that just like you can house physical records metadata in Gimmal Physical, you can also house the digital content metadata, of course, along with the piece of digital content itself. The typical use case, guys, is really as a convenience copy. It's intended, if you will, for content or records that are now stable, that are final. They're no longer going to be changed, and it can just save you a lot of time to present the digital content online rather than having to work through all the processes otherwise. Now, a couple of other important points for you to note. Just like all of the tabs in Gimmal Physical, and you're seeing a representation here, the same points hold to digital content. It really, in terms of the configuration or design, it acts like all the other tabs do in Gimmal Physical. That is, we will actually design it however you would like, whether you're going to be a brand new customer or you're upgrading or you want to enhance your current product. We'll create as many metadata fields as you would like. We can drill down here just momentarily to one of these pieces of content, and you'll see that here, right? So this is just the metadata that I configured for my demo application here, in that for each piece of digital content, I'm associating it to an organizational unit. I'm also tying it to a physical folder. We'll come back to that in a few moments. You can, guys, if you so choose, you can actually take the digital content. You can classify it just like you would with your physical records for retention and disposition purposes. And just scrolling down the page, you'll see some of the other representational metadata that we have created here for the digital content itself. Now, it operates the same way as all the other tabs, in that just like on the other tabs, you can create or update or search, or you can import, you can export. The only real significant difference from a usability perspective is, like all the other tabs, you have the metadata to fill in, but you've also now got this browse control to actually browse out and or drag and drop the electronic content to this tab. So just some basics there about the architectural capability of the eDocs tab, as well as kind of its basic use case in our software. Now, how most of our clients that are using eDocs, how they actually implement this. And this is actually true, guys. Anytime there's relationships between tabs in your application, you can sort of attack that from either direction. Now, let me be a little more specific. That is, you could come to the digital content tab like I did a moment ago, click on create and begin to build your digital content from this perspective. And while on that create page, you could choose a folder. Having said that, in reality, most of our clientele attacks it from the other direction. Now, in my demo app here, guys, I've associated digital content to the physical folders tab. In reality, you could tie the digital content to any of the tabs in the application. Common example would be boxes, but in my demo, I've got it set up here at folders. The idea being, when you want to add digital content, you would first come to the folders tab because, again, the primary use case is to add eDocs or digital content as an extension of their physical record counterpart. I will mention on that point, guys, on occasion, we do have clients that don't do it that way. Rather, they just create digital content all by itself. It's not associated to any of the other physical records. We can support that, of course. That would then mean you would start off on the digital content tab to do your create. However, the primary use case is what I'm about to show you here. You'd come to a folders tab, you'd search, you'd identify. I'm going to grab just this first record here. You'll notice over on the far right, guys, this control, this associations control is specific to the eDocs or the digital content. By the way, this associations control doesn't just show up all by itself. As a quick side note, if we jump into preferences here and I come to the folder preferences, so for those of you that are currently using or are going to use eDocs or digital content, if you want that associations control to show up, please take note of this preference here. To display that, change that to a yes on the folders tab itself. So assuming you've got that preference set the way you want, you can then utilize that control as sort of a shortcut, if you will, in that you could go to the view page for each of the documents. Like I could click that link. I'm not going to do it right now, but I could. And from the view page, I could then attach the digital content, but actually I can do it right here on what we have termed the home page grid. So number one, what can you do? You can, of course, just click this little show link. What it's going to do for that particular control is going to show you, okay, give me a quick reference. This grid, if I notice a little further down, if I had clicked on this guy here that has 3, when we click on show, you'd see 3 references to digital content, quick reference. And then you can also actually, right within this grid, you can click that little hot link, so to speak, and it will bring you right to the piece of digital content itself. Now, one important point to make here, guys, in the end, we are dependent upon the browser for displaying the digital content. And your mileage will vary depending upon your particular browser and the version of that browser, but PDFs, generally speaking, all the modern browsers will open those right up into the browser itself. But be aware the details may vary. You may have to go to your downloads folder to launch that particular document, or if it's really just some one-off piece of content, you may have to actually open up the corresponding software to view that document. In the end, we are dependent upon the browser for rendering here. We do not have, another way to say that, we don't have a native viewer that will just render any kind of content whatsoever. Leaving that guy alone, so if you want to just quickly launch the digital content already associated, you simply click that link. Drawing your attention now down, guys, a few rows below, probably already self-evident, but let me just emphasize, the relationship between your physical record, in this case folders, and that of the digital content is a one-to-many relationship. So on that top row there, I simply, for this one physical record, I have one piece of digital content, but this guy further down, for single physical record, I have multiple pieces of digital content. And there's really no limit there, guys. You can associate as many different pieces of digital content as you would like to the physical record itself. Now, back to this control, in addition to just viewing this, you'll notice, of course, also this ability to add new. So if I've, regardless of whether I have any digital content or not yet, can simply click on the add new link. We're going to bring us back now to the create digital content page. I could take the time to fill in all the metadata, but I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and just click the upload here. Open up my file share, right, Windows Explorer. Just grab any piece of digital content there and then save the record. So that is the primary use case that you see right there, guys, for that association of digital content to the physical record counterpart. One other point I really want to make here, guys, is that if we come back to digital content, let's go there one more time. And as you saw here in my demo, I've actually got this demo set up so that whether you're creating or viewing or what have you, for each piece of digital content, you can specifically classify this record by the corresponding or needed record series. I've also got date fields in here so the clock can start running, cutoff dates for event-based legal holds to suspend disposition. So just be aware, you got really three options here when it comes to end-of-life disposition of these digital content itself. If you create the digital content as orphaned records, that is, they're not tied to any physical records whatsoever, just like you can with boxes and files, you can apply retention disposition to the electronic content itself. Secondly, what you can do is you can actually, under preferences, and I guess I should show you that as well. Let's come back into preferences, go to digital content, and notice this preference right here. If you've made the association from digital content to the physical records, you can say, exactly as this preference does say, hey, when I disposition the physical record, I want to take care of the corresponding digital records at the same time. Set that preference to yes. There is a third option, guys, that even if you do make the association between the physical record and the digital content, if you set this to no, you would then run separate disposition batches, one for the physical, one for the digital content itself. Now, on the whole, that is really how I wanted to cover it. I wanted to show to you the capabilities of the digital content. Do want to make one more kind of technical point here for you. When you are dispositioning digital content, unlike the other records in Gimmal Physical, where when you disposition, we simply delete or soft delete, meaning the physical record's metadata is still there, albeit usually hidden from end users, it is still available. When you disposition digital content, guys, we actually do hard delete the digital content. So you could undelete the digital content or electronic record, but the actual corresponding digital file itself would be gone. So with that, that is on the whole the primary use case. One other kind of just ancillary activity I wanted to cover with you. Over on the folders tab, we'll use in our example here in the demo, what we have seen our clients to do, and we strongly encourage this, of course, is when users come in and they are needing to get information in their hands. So focusing here on the folders tab, they could do this kind of thing. They could say, hey, I need the information. I see we've got both physical, we've also got electronic copy, but if they took the time and clicked on the show and launched the digital content and they didn't see the exact page of the document that they wanted, one other feature that's available to you is they can start here with the physical record. They can click on request delivery as they typically would, asking the records management team to grab that physical folder and then deliver it to them, however that happens in your organization. But this is a good use case, guys, for the alternate fulfillment method. And what I'm really going to focus your attention on here, this drop-down list, alternate fulfillment method, it's like all the lists in Gimmal Physical. You can populate it with whatever values you want. A very common example is this, where the end user now can say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Records Manager, I need the information, but I'd like to circumvent that traditional checkout, check-in process. Would you mind taking that physical file folder, doing some image scanning of it, and then ingesting it right into Gimmal Physical so that I can get the information electronically right now, but not only that, once the image has been attached, it's available for future users of the system as well. So a nice little added benefit there if you kind of just want to on-demand image scan things rather than doing a whole back office type file conversion, because as most of us know, that's very cumbersome, very expensive, very labor intensive, kind of a hybrid, if you will, to just scan on demand as needed. With that, I think that's the end of the content here for eDocs. I'm going to bring us back over to.
Sounds good. So ready for questions? And we do have a few teed up already. So Tim, you ready?
I am ready.
All right. So here's the first one. How much in-app storage is available? And assuming we use a third-party storage solution, what's involved in linking that? Is that something we would need a statement of work for?
Yeah, great question. And kind of two questions rolled into one there, at least, guys. Let me give you the high-level details there. If your implementation of Gimmal Physical is on premises, the sky is the limit. It's really only limited by your servers there internally. You can store as much digital content as you would like. Sort of related to that, sometimes people ask the question, hey, how big of a file can I attach? Again, for our on-premises customers, that's up to you. It is a setting within the web.config file. So apologies for speaking technical there for a moment. We default it to 2 gigs, so know that. But if you need more than 2 gigs per file, you can alter that value in your web.config file. That's for our on-premises clientele. If you are in the cloud, if it's your own private cloud, the same answers apply. Really, the sky is the limit on both. If you are, however, in the Gimmal managed cloud, if you want more than 2 gigs per file, you need to let our client success know so they can make that change. And it is a system-wide change. And then in terms of overall storage for all of your digital content, we do require, for a couple of reasons, that you provide to us your own Azure Blob storage. We store it in your Azure as opposed to Gimmal's Azure storage. Number one, because we pay for that Azure storage, right? So when you start to get up there into the many gigabytes and the terabytes, we pass that cost directly onto you. And then, guys, there is, I won't get into all the details, but there is sort of a liability security issue in terms of the actual content. So it's better to have it in your own Azure storage than in the Gimmal managed Azure storage. I think a part of that question as well, Marcia, was kind of initial migration. How does that work? Yes, our client success team will work with you, whether, again, you're a brand new customer or you're just going to upgrade your existing system. I didn't specifically call this out, guys, but along these lines, just like all of the tabs in Gimmal Physical that you can import data into, you can also import data into the eDocs or digital content tab. So you could actually do this all by yourselves. However, you can also collaborate with our client success for importing large chunks of digital content.
Right. All right. Thanks for that, Tim. We do have another one. This one says, we are on-prem. How do we get this functionality and get the digital content eDocs tab, as well as the associations for preference, etc.?
You call Marcia. That's what you do. And yeah, there is some configuration change likely, unless you already have the eDocs tab as part of your initial configuration, guys. We don't ship it with every implementation. If you don't have it, reach out to Marcia and she can get you started.
Oh, great answer. I will point you in the right direction. Sure. Another one, we do still have time. What eDoc file types are supported, Tim?
Yeah, sort of addressed this one earlier. Really, you can attach any file type whatsoever. There is no exception to that. The real gist of the question sometimes, though, is what can we actually display? And again, that comes back to your browser or how your particular PC or laptop is set up with its corresponding file types. Most browsers will do PDFs and some other limited file types. So attach anything you want whatsoever, but what actually gets displayed is kind of a different question.
Oh, cool. Another one is there any limit to the size of an eDoc?
Yes, default size is 2 gigabytes. We can alter that. It is a system-wide setting.
And then another one is, can eDocs be imported?
And the answer is yes. I think I just mentioned this one. So whoever asked that question, you weren't listening. So I'm going to tell you again. Yes, you can import eDocs just like you can on all the other tabs. You can import the eDocs into that tab with really no particular limit there, as much as you want.
Okay, great. I don't see any others, but if you do, Q&A is still open. If not, we will wrap up. I think we're good, Tim. So if you could throw up the slide on next education sessions, that would be great.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would probably help if I shared my screen. I lost my share.
Yeah, that's good. We're all
So
good.
just share one more time.
Sometimes just easier to see than listen to me.
There we go.
There we go. Great. Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, thank you everybody for attending today. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this one. These are the upcoming sessions in the near future. Excuse me. Our next session is Tuesday, June 25th on Gimmal Discover, and that's going to be talking about how it can be used to manage data on endpoints, if that's of interest, even if you don't have that product today. The next Gimmal Physical session, July 23rd, as you'll see here, and that will be coming in registrations for Q3 in the next couple days here. So you'll see the ability to start registering for our Q3 events that are coming soon on the education series. And then the next slide, Tim, thank you. Yeah, we'll just mention, Gimmel's still on the road this year. If you're going to be attending any of these events on here, please feel free to let us know. Stop by our booth. I think Tim's actually going to be at Nagara himself. So if you want to see him in person, say hi. He would love to meet anybody and everybody. If you have any suggestions for future education sessions, please feel free to send them to myself or to success@gimmal.com, and we'll add those to the list. We do have Q3's worked out, but Q4 is still in the works. So we'd love your ideas if you'd like to share them. That's it, everybody. Thanks again. Have a great day. See you next time.